This is Urdizzle with a little daily tourney action, and I wasn't originally going to do a voiceover for this one, but the round I threw was just insane. I haven't had a round like this in quite a while, so I thought I'd give you a little audio bonus for this one. And it took me about 15 minutes, and I'd say probably 5 of that was just spent messing around with the turn skip Ballista Pro, seeing if I could actually ace hole 1. I wasn't 100% sure I could until I threw one of these. I don't even remember where it was. By the way, this is all sped up to, I think, 4 times speed. But one of them just missed left, so I knew I could get it if I could get the right angle on it. And so that's what you guys are seeing right here. And I do not have a light glide Ballista Pro, which is what I would use to ace this hole. So this is just me using the discs I got in the bag. Remember, I do not have the light glide Ballista Pro, and I do not have a glide skip Ballista Pro. So most everything else I would want is in this bag. And so right here, I finally hit it on this round. So you're actually going to see 2 rounds. If you want to fast forward, you can. And this feels so ridiculously slow. And that one I just left in there because I thought that was hilarious. It like skipped down, up, over the top, and landed almost on top of the basket. I thought that was pretty nice. But right here is where things start to get interesting. So I messed around for about 5 minutes just to see if I could get it. And I was pretty much done. I was going to let it go. And then I go ahead and throw this one. At this point, I'm just not really willing to grind these to get the aces. So I was able to get it on hole 1 there. And then I was just going to see what happens on the other holes. So what you guys are seeing here now is my first run through this. I have no idea what holes are coming. Hole 2, this is my accurate wind river. I just think it's a perfect disc for this. I know a lot of people use like a warship or a musket. I just think the river is the perfect disc. And for those of you that don't know, I found that the windbreak discs don't have as much ground play. So for example, if I use my accurate glide musket and my accurate windbreak musket, the accurate glide will get a little more skip on the ground. So that's just from my experience. All right, hole 3, we're using the accurate glide musket here, and I just kind of picked kind of a random spot there about where I thought to aim, and I actually thought this was going to go in, and it just barely missed to the left. So right there, I had a close call. That would have been a really fun one to get, but I did not get that. Still a pretty good start, going eagle, bird eagle. And then as soon as I see this, so I'm using my wind glide recoil. I know this is going to be kind of an annoying layout because this is such a difficult hole right here. And luckily I had a good shot on it, and I thought it might have skipped out of bounds, but it did not. It did stay in. Gave me a nice little putt. But anytime you're including downtown number 7, I mean, that's just, I don't want to say it's a coin flip, but I definitely do not get that one very often. I'd be curious what the data is on that hole to see how many people actually birdie that one versus getting like double and triple bogeys. And then you throw in hole 9 with a 3 wind left to right tail. Like this is just, that's 2 back-to-back brutal holes. And so I throw my roll glide just because I figure if I get the angle correctly, it'll kind of sit down here. And I skipped off there, and I was actually okay with that shot. And it's 62 feet, which is normally a putt for me, but in a 3 wind, I decided to throw it in, which was not the smartest choice here. Normally I would putt that one, but with the elevated basket, I just didn't, just kind of rushed it, and I missed it, of course. Kind of annoyed with that, but still, I didn't go out of bounds, so it's all right. And then hole 3 here, this is not hole 6 of the daily, but hole 3, this is not too difficult one. I know a lot of people go long on this, but if you've watched my walkthrough for downtown, just throw an accurate wind musket, slam it into that hillside and let it skip over, and usually you can get that one. Then we shift over to Grizzly, which is a nice way to finish. I was hoping they didn't throw in Frozen Valley or some other crazy stuff. And this hole is not as easy as it looks. Without the glide skip Ballista Pro, I don't get up there as far as I would normally. And so the turn skip, you really, really, really got to hit your angle just perfectly, and I was able to get it up there. But that is not an easy a hole as it would be if I had the Grail, the big disc. And so at this point, I'm just kind of messing around. I decide to go for a 4-hand accurate glide musket to try to ace it because I've already messed up this round. So I'm thinking, man, let's mess around with it. And just barely miss it to the right. So already I've made the mistake on downtown hole 9, and I've had a couple of near misses. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's a lot of potential for this layout. But again, I don't want to grind it, but there's definitely some cool stuff that could happen here. And then we end with this hole, which I use my Roll Glide Ballista Pro and just kind of throw this up over the top and let it crash into the wall. And there's so many discs you can use for this, but even this one was a pretty decent shot close to the basket. But I think there's tons of discs you can use there. So overall, pretty solid round. Not really too upset with it. I got the 18, the 12 under, which is good enough for elite status. And so right at this point, I'm thinking to myself, like, am I done? Am I happy with that? I've got the coins. I've got the experience. I don't really want to grind it. It took me less than 10 minutes because I had 5 minutes where I was grinding hole 1 for the ace. I got my level up, which is nothing special there. And I'm pretty much done. But those 2 or 3 close calls they kind of stuck with me a little bit. And so I decided to give it one more good run through this. So I decided to give it one more run through, and I'm hoping the grind for hole 1 doesn't take too long. And I kind of told myself that if this took any more than about like 3 minutes, 4 minutes on hole 1, that I was just kind of done. So first one was junk. And second one, also junk. And again, my dedication level at this point is not high. So I'm just thinking to myself, give me a decent run. And if I can ace this one, we'll just go all the way through it. So 4. That was great. So at this point, I'm thinking, God, it was probably a lucky ace. So I should probably just kind of call it. But then this is where the good stuff started to happen. So hole 1, so again, we got the turn skip Ballista Pro. So it didn't take me, it took me like 6 or 7 shots. I was able to ace it the second time. And so feeling pretty good. And hole 2, I'm not trying anything crazy here. With a 1 wind, I suppose you could throw maybe like an accurate wind musket. Although that probably wouldn't get there. Maybe an accurate glide to try to ace that. The chances of acing this hole, though, I mean, it's so low. I'm not even messing around with that. Just give me the birdie and get out of there. So just play the accurate wind river down there, easy peasy. And this one, I had a pretty good idea from the last round where to aim it, so I went with my accurate glide musket again, and just put a little bit of turn and let the wind kind of bring it to the basket. And right there, I knew it was in. It was just going right for the basket. I mean, there was no doubt. So far, a perfect start, but again, it can all be ruined right here. And I really considered laying up and trying to get the throw in, but I was like, why the hell not? There's no point in doing that. And threw pretty much a perfect shot. And I was just hoping it didn't skip over the wall there, but I mean, you really can't do much better than that. I mean, if you try to ace that run, you're going OB. So this is pretty much a perfect start, and now we get to hole 5, and this is the hole I screwed up last time. But I'm going with the same shot. I'm going with my Roll Glide Ballista Pro, just playing with a touch of turn, and hopefully it slides down there. And right about here, I thought it was going to hang too far out to the right, but then it did start to come back, and I got really lucky because that bush slowed it down. And it actually rolled right to the basket. And anybody that's thrown that glide roll disc on this hole knows that if it kind of gets up on edge, it can very easily roll out of bounds left or right. So you really got to worry about that power control. And at this point, I'm feeling like I have pretty much what I would consider a perfect round. It's everything I needed. This one I'm not really worried about, the hole 3 on downtown. The only one I'm really worried about at this point now is the next one, Grizzly hole 3. Because with that turn skip Ballista Pro, I don't get the consistent skips up the hill that I would normally get with the glide skip. So right here, this is the one where if I can get this one, I'm feeling like I got a really, really, really good round. And so I throw a nice turn there, and I almost messed up, and it did some weird skip to the left. And I'm still not, I mean, you got to get it over the crest of the hill here, but I'm thinking I've got a good shot with my fuse here. Just don't give it too much power, and I did not. It was dead center. So right there, I've got a 16 going. I'm feeling, as long as I can birdie this and then eagle the last one, which I feel pretty comfortable doing. So here, I'm not getting risky. I don't throw the musket like I did last time. I suppose I could have done this one too, but I just went for the easy shot, got the tap in. So we've got nearly a perfect round going. So if I can eagle this, I've got a 16. But again, last round I threw, I had a pretty good idea of where I wanted to aim the Ballista Pro, and so I aimed at that exact same spot, and I'll just be quiet and let you watch. I mean, you can't plan that. I mean, I tried to do that, but there's just no way you can grind that. I mean, that's just insane. So there you guys have it, a 15 under 15. For those of you that saw that on the leaderboard and were like, what the hell did he do to do that? Well, there you guys go. And again, no Light Glide Ballista Pro, no Glide Skip, but let you know you can still do some damage with whatever discs you got in your bag. You just need some of those fairways and other things. So I know I haven't been regular with my videos, but I thought this was one of those rounds that most definitely deserved it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and no guarantees when I'll be back, but I will be back sometime soon.